Ebube's mother walked into the small shop, her eyes scanning shelves filled with dusty trinkets and forgotten items. In the dim light, a doll caught her attention. It was small, wearing a worn, faded dress, and had dark, glassy eyes. The doll seemed to watch her, almost as if it wanted her to take it home. Without hesitation, she picked it up, thinking her little girl would love it. That evening, she handed the doll to Ebube, who looked at it with wide, excited eyes. She hugged it tightly and whispered, "Thank you, Mommy." The mother watched her daughter smile, but something about the doll's expression seemed different now. The way its eyes reflected the light gave her a chill. As Ebube slept with the doll tucked under her arm, the mother was startled awake by a strange sound, almost like whispering, coming from her daughter's room. She went in to check, finding Ebube fast asleep. But the doll's eyes seemed to glimmer in the darkness, as if it was watching her. Over the next few days, Ebube began to change. She spent more time alone, whispering softly to the doll. She no longer played with her other toys and would stare into space for hours, clutching the doll tightly. Her mother felt uneasy, but she brushed it off as her daughter simply being attached to a new toy. One night, as the mother prepared for bed, she found a piece of paper tucked under her pillow. Written in childlike handwriting, it said, "The doll is not your friend." She felt a chill down her spine, her eyes darting toward her daughter's room. That night, she couldn't sleep, disturbed by the warning and the eerie silence in the house. In the early hours, she heard a faint whispering again, coming from Ebube's room. When she entered, she found Ebube wide awake, sitting up and talking to the doll. The next morning, the mother decided to ask her daughter about the doll. "Who have you been talking to at night, Ebube?" she asked gently. Ebube looked up with wide eyes, her voice soft. "My friend, the doll." Unsettled, the mother decided to speak with a local elder, hoping for guidance. The elder's face turned serious when she mentioned the doll. "This doll, it is not just a toy," the elder warned. That night, the mother watched from the doorway as Ebube slept, the doll clutched tightly in her arms. In the shadows, she saw the doll's eyes glimmer faintly, an unsettling gleam in the dark. She could swear the doll moved ever so slightly, as if alive. The mother asked the elder to come and bless the house, hoping to rid it of whatever darkness lingered. The elder sprinkled water around the room, chanting softly. But as she neared the doll, her chanting stopped abruptly, her eyes wide with shock. The elder took a step back, her face pale as she looked at the doll. "This doll, it carries a spirit," she whispered, her voice trembling. The mother felt a chill run down her spine, her worst fears confirmed. "What should I do?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The elder instructed the mother to gather specific herbs and candles to prepare for a ritual. That night, they set up a small altar in Ebube's room, placing the doll in the center. The elder began chanting, waving a bundle of herbs over the doll as the flames flickered. The room grew colder, and a strange shadow seemed to form around the door. Suddenly, the candles blew out, and a chilling wind swept through the room. Ebube, who had been watching quietly, let out a scream as the doll's eyes began to glow. The elder continued chanting louder, urging the mother to hold Ebube close. The doll seemed to shake, as if fighting against the ritual's power. With one final, powerful chant, the elder cast a handful of herbs over the doll, which burst into a smoky mist. The mist filled the room, swirling around them before disappearing through the window. The doll's eyes dimmed, returning to their original, lifeless glass. With one final, powerful chant, the elder cast a handful of herbs over the doll, which burst into a smoky mist. After the ritual, the elder advised them to bury the doll far from their home, never to bring it back. The mother and Ebube traveled to a distant forest and buried the doll deep in the earth. As they covered the doll with soil, a sense of calm washed over them, as if a heavy weight had lifted. They returned home together, hand in hand, feeling that their lives could finally go back to normal.